Hello folks, Jason Chrisman, JC's Bees, your Central Ohio beekeeper. Today I want to talk a little bit about the Sumac testing and the wildflowers that I'm seeing in bloom right now. So let's start right off with the Sumac testing. Over my shoulder here you can see Sue, which is the Sumac colony, and then over here you can see Stan, which is just regular smoker fuel. And my regular smoker fuel, or standard for Stan, is wood shavings. If you're not familiar with this test that I'm doing with Sumac, I suggest you watch the previous video, which I'll link up in the right hand corner. So they've been in these colonies for about 10 days, and the last 10 days I've just been swamped with brush hogging and haven't had any time to make any inspections or to treat with smoke. So what I did was, a couple days ago, I pulled out both sticky boards from both colonies, and with doing absolutely nothing to either one of them, I think Sue had maybe 3 mites on the sticky board and Stan had 5. So I wiped that off, reapplied a new layer of Vaseline, and then I fired up my Sumac smoker and my standard smoker, wood shavings. And what I did was I kind of mimicked an oxalic acid vaporizer treatment. I took each smoker and I blew smoke through the hole that I would vaporize in the back of the colony. And the way I did it was I just kept puffing the smoker until I hear the colony start to roar a little louder, and then I continue to smoke a little bit longer, and then I stopped, plugged the hole off, and then 24 hours later I removed the sticky boards to see if just blowing the smoke in the colony, filling the whole colony full of smoke, is enough for the sumac berries to do what they have to do to make mites drop. And today I'm going to share that with you. Now I also did the same thing with Stan and my wood shavings. I removed the golf tee, I mimicked an oxalic acid treatment, and once the colony got loud, I continued to smoke a little bit more, plugged the hole off, and I was done. The reason I did this treatment or experiment with both colonies is smoke normally makes bees gorge themselves or just fill their bellies full. It's a natural reaction because they think there's a fire. So by smoking the colonies the way I did, I could have made the bees think the hive's on fire, stuff your head in a cell, and fill your belly full. And I didn't want the rapid motion of everybody starting to move around to get away from the smoke to knock the mites off and us think it was the sumac, if that makes any sense. So that's the reason I did both colonies with the smoke. We'll be able to compare and say, was it the sumac that actually dropped the mites, or was it just smoke? So let's check out the results. Okay, so it's been about 22 hours now. Let's gather the sticky boards and compare. We've got Sue, which I labeled. We don't get them confused. Set Sue there. And we have Stan, which I labeled. Okay, so now when we look at these, and I think it might be easier to look at them in the shade. Okay, so let's take Stan first, and let's go across here and see if we see any Varroa mites. And the answer is yes. I see one Varroa mite, and it's actually alive. You see it right there in front of my finger? That's the only Varroa mite on the whole board. The rest of what you see is just standard debris. You've got some cappings, some wax pellets, maybe some pieces of pollen, but only the one mite. So now let's look at Sue. Okay, looking across Sue, and I'll tell you, you have to have a trained eye for Varroa mites to be able to do this, because if not, or if your eyes aren't good, you're going to confuse some of these small flakes for Varroa Mite. And I tell you folks, I do not see a single mite. Now some of these dark pieces kind of resemble mites, but those are just dark cappings. You come in here, there's a lot going on. It's pretty busy. I see some chunks of pollen, some salt crystals or wax cappings, but I do not. And look, and if you look right here, it actually looks like there's a stinger right there, but I do not see one single Varroa mite. Now, does that mean Sumac doesn't work? No, it doesn't. What it does mean is that there's really no way to measure how much smoke I put into each hive, and to say whether I put enough Sumac smoke in this colony to do any good. So what I'll do is I'll make inspections this week, normal inspections, and as I go through the colony I'll smoke the frames, but before I do that, we'll erase this, clean it all off, put a new layer of Vaseline on there, and we'll measure the mite drop that way. Now I know I mentioned I would do alcohol washes once a week, but a couple people have commented, and I've kind of thought this separately. Doing alcohol washes on colonies this size is really going to set the population back. And really all we need to know is whether it's dropping mites. Not how many, not where the colony is. We just need to know whether it's effective at dropping mites. So the bottom board or the sticky board is going to tell us all that information, and at the same time we're not going to have to kill any bees, and the population will still be able to grow. So win-win, right? So I'm going to put these back in the colonies just for the heck of it. I'll give them the rest of the day, and I'll check back later and update in the next video. But as of right now, there is no difference. There was no mite drop. Let's put it that way. What you can see is that Sue is using all 5 frames, it looks like. Whereas if you look at Stan might be using the first 1 or 2 frames. So it looks like an inspection's needed anyway. So that'll work out good for the smoke treatment. So stay tuned, folks. So as you can see, it doesn't look like that experiment did anything for the mites. So this coming week, what I'll do is I'll open up each colony and I will make an inspection using the designated smoker for each colony, and we'll see what that does. Hopefully it does something, because I think there's a lot of us that are really hoping that the staghorn sumac does drop mites, just because it's a cheap alternative for a mite treatment. Okay, so now on to the wildflowers. As I'm brush hogging the other day, I noticed a lot of Virginia mountain mint in bloom in the pasture. Check this out. Virginia mountain mint. And let me tell you, this pasture's got a bunch of it. You can see it if I squat down like this and we just look across the top of the pasture. There's also a lot of it over this direction. Another bee. Another bee. Bees are working this hot and heavy today. There's a bee. There's 2 bees. I just moved the cattle, had my herd on this side, and you can see that they don't like it, so they ate around the plant. Once it quits blooming, I'll end up mowing this pasture. Got some kind of other pollinator there, I'm not sure what that was. It's a great pollinator plant though. I've actually collected seeds from this here at the farm, and now I have it growing at my house. Not like this yet. but that's my goal. Someday have this much. There's a little bumblebee. All kinds of interesting bugs out here working this stuff. And the fragrance, boy, super minty. Now you can't help but when you're driving through the pasture to run over some of the plants and just brushing against it like that with the four-wheeler, it really stirs up the fragrance. There's another honeybee right there. Pretty cool though. Just wanted to share this great pollinator plant. Usually, you know, this time of year, late July, nectar sources are starting to get few and far between. Yellow sweet clover is finishing up. White sweet clover can have a decent flow if you get enough rain, in which fortunately we have got quite a bit of rain here the last week or so. There's two bees. There's another bee. There's another bee. There's a bee. Wow, they're just all over it, folks. Anyway, just wanted to share. If you're looking for a new pollinator plant to add to your mix, check out Virginia Mountain Mint. And hey, just a little fact for you. All plants in the mint family have a square stem. Yep, it's a fact. And then back here at the nuke yard, we've got echinacea, or coneflower, as most people call it, in full bloom. And you can see the bees are all over it. Had some butterflies, some bumblebees, all different kinds of pollinators working it. Got some more of it down here. Here's a bee flying around there. There's one working it. You know, if you've ever felt one of these coneflowers, this head here is very hard and prickly. You actually wonder, what the heck are they working? You've actually got to pry the needles open a little bit and look down in there to see where the bees would be feeding at. So it's kind of interesting. Besides the coneflowers though, in this little pollinator garden, we got milkweed, which is kind of dying off. We've got our white sweet clover, which is yet to bloom. And we've got our wing stem, which is just starting to open up. You can see one up there that's open. Most of them though, looking like this at this point. Just about to bust open. I would say 2-3 more days, that'll be in full bloom. Going around here, we've got some more of the white sweet clover. I know this isn't a personal favorite for a lot of people, but this is ragweed and the bees will work that. Here's some more white sweet clover and lots of wing stem. And on around here, got a little bit of alfalfa, but it's not in bloom right now. So that's what the bees have here at the house. So even though there's all these wildflowers in bloom and flowers that we planted, we're still on the verge of not having a nectar flow. It's coming, folks. It's time to prepare our feeders, start feeding the bees, supplement. If you've got dry pollen feeders, get them out. That'll help the brood production to continue going. Feed a 1-to-1 sugar syrup would be great for the bees. What's Ladybug doing back here? Dora the Explorer. That's what she is. What are you doing, Dora? What are you doing, girl? It's a Dora Explorer. What are you doing, Ladybug? Let's get Ladybug in here. What are you doing, girl? Did you get your exploring done? Hey, chin up, girl. Did you get your exploring done? Oh, it's a pretty girl. So make sure you tune in next week, folks, and we'll do some more testing on this sumac, see if there's any results. Like I say, I think there's a lot of us hoping for the best. Thanks for watching. You enjoyed this video, throw it a big thumbs up. That would be greatly appreciated. And don't forget to subscribe if you have not done so. Thanks.